Yeah, like we're not even like I mean, we can't kill them, they can't kill us, but we're gonna start. Okay, yeah, to my point. To my point, we're gonna start kicking their ass. Jesus. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a little strong right now, guys. It's a little strong.
Oh shit.
And again, like I'm not even worried about thermals, not worried about any of the damage. Who hurt you? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be going over the new Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. I'm going to give you guys kind of like my 2 cents on him and anything that I've found in my really minimal testing I did yesterday. But you know, we kind of have to wait for 5s and for TW, I think, to really understand the capabilities of his leadership and unique. And yeah, I promise you guys we will get back on the TW bandwagon later in the week. I will start coming out with different chapters for the TW for Dummies guide. I just needed a mental reset recently, and yeah, just doing school and all sorts of other stuff. But we're good now, so hopefully we get back on track. But anyways, let's get into the game and let's talk about Moff Gideon. All right, so Moff Gideon, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. I'm just gonna call him Moff Gideon. I'm sorry, but it's just they could have come up with a different name. Anyways, let's go over the kit. I'm going to do kind of a quick kit refresher and kind of explain how he works, because again, this is one of those instances where they have a very, very lengthy, wordy kit, and you could probably explain everything in about 2 sentences. So, his basic, all you need to know is it generates stacks of insight. You don't need to worry about the deal more damage, just it generates stacks of insight. All right, basic, stack of insight, simple. Your special consumes your stacks of insight, and then you also remove turn meter based on the number of stacks of insight that you have, 10% per stack. Now, his second special is the AoE mass revive, whatever you want to call it. It's also his force taunt ability outside of TW. TW, he will have an undispellable pre-taunt at the start of the battle, but I'm kind of going to focus a little bit more outside TW, because like I said, we haven't really been able to use him yet, so it's kind of hard for me to give you guys like my review of him not being in TW yet. So this is his revive. It revives people, revives Mandos as well. So it's his revive and his taunt. Okay, it's essentially what it is. So those are his you know, his basic and his 2 specials. His leadership is so good, guys. It is ridiculously good. I think he has the highest base mastery like boost out of all the TW and GAC leadership elements, because I think when you go down to here, it's like 75%. Yeah, it's nuts. In addition to getting just a boatload of great stats, crit chance, crit damage, defense, and offense. I mean, the defense is huge, by the way. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But pretty much, his lead is what's keeping the team alive. Whenever you lose TM or stuff like that, you heal for that much. The opponents lose offense every time they gain or lose TM or something like that until the end of the next turn. So you have that on top of demoralized from OG Moff Gideon. So this is just like a survivability leadership. It's not super crazy. The next portion here is where kind of the offense does kick in a little bit. You're gaining defense and offense every time he uses a special until the end of the battle. So you kind of want him to be fast, because you want him to get as many turns as possible. That way he's just going and going and going, and eventually you will win, because, well, they're getting weaker, you're getting stronger, and if you're still alive, then they're obviously not going to kill you unless there's a mechanic. Another thing is, every time he takes a turn, he's also going to get a stack of insight, so that's going to be really important into playing into his survivability mechanic. And then the first time everybody dies, he gets full TM, which also is heals, because that goes back to the top part where anytime you gain or lose turn meter or take a bonus turn, you recover that much health and protection. So any turn meter manipulation just helps this team, which is kind of crazy to think about. All right, so going over to the unique, he's got 100% crit avoidance, and more defense, more health, more protection on top of it's insane. At the end of his turns, he recovers his protection, so you're probably going to guess we're going to be modding him for protection. Whenever he would be defeated, now this is the really important part about his kit, he has this kind of reverse 5s mechanic. I call it a reverse 5s mechanic because, you know, on a gas or 501st team, or just a 501st team in general, anytime you kill anyone other than 5s, that character doesn't die, 5 sacrifices himself, and then, you know, shares his stats, and, you know, we all call it the sacrifice. This is kind of a reverse version of that. Anytime he would die, as long as he has 4 stacks of insight on him, the weakest other ally dies instead. So it's like, you know, your Scout Trooper or Darth Maul or somebody like that will die, and then you could just bring him right back. So, but again, it's all based on him having 4 stacks of insight, which he does not start with 4 stacks like you will in TW, in GAC. In GAC, you kind of have to, you got to get those stacks on your own. And then he's also kind of like, has like a part 2 to his unique as well. I mean, this could have been just a separate unique, but I get it, whatever. It's small enough to just stick it right in here. Phrasing. Anytime he's not in the leadership, if there's a dark side, Mando, basically, Maul is in the leadership. He gains 25% offense, and Darkseid Mandos recover 20% protection at the end of their turn. So that just adds to the whole, you know, ISC, you know, protection recovery mechanic. So it's pretty good. I think it's kind of cool, and you might even be able to do Gar Saxon Lead, a full Empire Gar Saxon Lead with ISC and Gideon, which that might be a thing. I don't know. We'll see. Let's go over the modding. You pretty much want him fast. You want him fast. You want him with like, this is actually kind of slow. For GAC, I think I'm gonna make him a little slower. I did have him around 320, so I gave him like my boss mods, but for the most part, guys, it's just protection, 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 protection. I mean, you want to capitalize on that protection and just make him as thick as possible, because he's got all that crit avoidance, which is great. He's got all that defense, which is going to be, like I said, really huge. I'll talk about that, you know, pretty soon. Overall, I think it's a great kit. I think it's a really, really great kit. Like I said, I kind of gave you guys the simplest version of what he does. Like I said, the basic generates a stack of insight. The first special gets rid of your insight. The AoE, not the AoE. The second special is an AoE. Revive is the force taunt, and then he also gets a stack of insight every time he takes a turn. That's pretty much the base of his kit. Everything else is kind of just health and protection recovery and defense and offense stacking, which is not really something you're going to be counting or, you know, keeping track of during the fight. It's you know, it's like, are you going to be able to kill him or not? Alright, so I've only done this once. I think Arnold may have done this as well, and other people, but I kind of just want to show you guys, like, my take on it. This is, I know, not the ideal Jabba team because Greedo's in the lineup, but I kind of want to just give you guys a quick demo of the capabilities of this team. So this is probably, I think, the ideal Datacron for Dark Trooper Moff Gideon with Imperial Remnant. You definitely, I mean, yeah, you want the Scout level 9. Buff on basic, that's a no-brainer. But the key thing is, I think, the level 6. You want the offense equal to defense level 6, because this team has a crap ton of defense, Stormtrooper included. And then if you also roll defense, it just adds a lot more offense, and the offense gets crazy. Stormtrooper will start one-shotting people, I'm not joking. So we'll go in. It's a pretty easy fight. I mean, for the most part, you kind of just button mash and steamroll them. And like I said, I'm running with a slower mod set on Dark Trooper Moff Gideon right now. I could make him much faster, and they'll make the fight a lot easier. But I'm just going to roll with what I have right now. So we're going to just do that, give everybody speed up. Oh, that sucks. Ability block on OG Moff Gideon is kind of a bummer. Speaking of ability block, in my testing, I discovered that ability block and stun on the new Moff Gideon is actually a good thing. So the AI is going to play him all wrong. Like, it's not going to wait to get stacks of insight. Like, the AI is going to spam the special abilities on cooldown. And it's not going to allow you to get your 4 stacks of insight, which is kind of a bummer. It's something I was concerned about placing this team on defense outside of TW. But if your opponent ability blocks Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, he's only going to be able to do his basic. If they stun him, oh my god. If they stun him, well, he's still going to take a turn, so he'll still generate a stack, or if he's at 4 stacks, he'll remain at 4 stacks longer, if that makes sense. So ability blocks and stuns actually help him quite a bit. It's really interesting to think about. But, because like I said, I was just worried about the defense for the AI just not letting him have 4 stacks of insight, but yeah, this team is just dumb. I want Stormtrooper to get a hit in here. Let me see if can I call him to assist here? 400k. Like, come on, get out of here with that. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Not even really paying attention to this fight, but you can tell we're just doing ridiculous damage numbers. I mean, it's just, I don't even know. I'm kind of at a loss for words here. This team is definitely outperforming what I initially anticipated it was going to do. I think out of all the TW characters like Django, Trench, Grand Inquisitor, and Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, I think Dark Trooper Moff Gideon has, and I mean, granted he does have a data cron right now, but I think this team has just an insane, like, just power surge of just offense, if that makes sense. I worded that super horribly, but my point I was trying to make was I think you get more out of this team a lot quicker. So I think you hit that level of like maximum potential at lower thresholds with this team. So like at R7, I don't think you need to go full R9, but the cool thing is when you go full R9 on some of these characters, the diminishing returns isn't as egregious as the other teams, if that makes sense. Like an R9 trench team versus an R8 trench team is like, you're just putting spinning rims on your car at that point. Same thing with Django. That's my favorite team in the game. You know, yeah, Fennec R9 is pretty cool, but I mean, for the most part, it doesn't need to be an R9 team for it to do its job. So with this team, though, I feel like you can absolutely get just these results at earlier relic levels, but if you decide to pursue R8 and R9, you will still get more out of that, if that makes sense. Here's a few examples I put together real quick about like what I may do in 3v3. I still haven't decided whether or not I'm going to go with any of these ideas, but you know, you can do a Gar Saxon lead, Ayasik. Obviously those two are just a dynamic duo right now in the game with the current meta. Adding Moff Gideon in there I think just makes them even better. For those who aren't familiar with Gar Saxon's lead, it's an Empire lead, so everyone has 50% counter chance, 40% more defense. And whenever an Empire ally uses basic ability, recover 5% health. So, not bad. You know, you pair that with Moff Gideon's survivability and everything, it's going to be kind of cool, I think. And then obviously you got Lord Vader here with you're replacing Royal Guard as your tank, and then you have the option to revive Maul if you're at 4 stacks of Insight. So that's going to be kind of cool. And obviously, if Gideon's also at 4 stacks of Insight, you cannot kill him. You'll have to kill Maul first, or if you kill him, you'll kill Maul, and then he can just res and yada yada. And then you have the Imperial Remnant Squad down on the bottom. You have the new Gideon, the OG Gideon, and I think Scout Troop. I think that is your team. They're all very fast characters, and you just kind of want to like outpace your opponent. And like I said, with that stacking offense and defense mechanic, eventually you should win. Real quick, I want to go over his Omicrons and the order of his Omicrons for those of you that are wondering about that. I know, like I said, we'll talk more about him when TW rolls around. His leadership and his unique are a must. They are a must-have, must-buy, whatever you want to call it. These two are equally important. The order depends on what your plans are for Moff Gideon. I really think his lead is ridiculous without the Omi. With the Omi, I don't even know what it's going to do. It's going to be really, really good. That being said, his unique is also just as good. However, if you're running a full Imperial Remnant squad, obviously do the lead first, okay? If you don't have your Imperial Remnant ready, let's say you don't have your Scout Trooper or your Death Trooper's not relic, yada yada, do the unique. You can still use him with Lord Vader. You can still use him with Mandalorians. His unique is still good. And then obviously the last one you're going to do is the special. This is the one a lot of people are saying they're probably not going to do. I disagree. I think I think this just adds another layer of this team ramping. I think out of all the special uniques, all the special Omicrons, this might be the best one other than Grand Inquisitors. Grand Inquisitors, the instant defeat is pretty good. It's pretty dang good. And Trench House obviously is a basic. But this one's really, really good. And why I think it's so good is because it kind of just doubles down on the ability. The ability is really strong. It removes turn meter for every stack of Insight you have on Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. When you apply the Omicron, you're removing an additional 10%, right? Then you're also doing true damage. So, you know, like, he is a tank, but he is going to start doing some solid numbers. And as you're ramping and having all this extra offense, like, it's just that much extra offense that I think is going to make a difference in a lot of fights. Obviously, this team's going to be a powerhouse in TW, but this might be what makes them an absolute nightmare on defense. You know what I mean? And on top of that, Then you inflict healing immunity for 2 turns, which can't be dispelled or resisted. Which, honestly, like, healing immunity for 2 turns on a character that's that fast, and everyone's just below in turn meter all over the place.
Boom. Phrasing.
I mean, it's pretty good. I think the special's really good. I think the special actually transforms the team into what counters can actually beat it on defense or not. That's just the way I read it. I think it's a good one. It's not like Sign of Django's where it's like it does one thing and it only applies sometimes. This one will still even apply against J&K. I mean, yeah, you can't remove turn meter from them, but you're doing true damage and undispellable healing immunity for 2 turns, which can't be resisted or dispelled, that's kind of nuts. I mean, it's extra damage and healing immunity if you don't care about the turn meter manipulation. But like I said, you have to remember, turn meter manipulation also takes away offense from them, and you get to heal. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It just adds that extra layer. Other than that, guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I had a really fun time just testing this character. Like I said, I only did it for a little bit, but man, I'm so glad he's out. I was looking forward to him and unlocking him for quite some time. I think he's a really great way to end the year, honestly, in this game. Absolute powerhouse of a character. Makes a ton of characters that kind of weren't really being used a whole lot, like Stormtrooper, Death Trooper, like really viable. And now, like, OG Moff Gideon is super important. I mean, obviously with the new raid, of course, but now, like, he's the whole engine for this team, which is pretty cool. Let me know down in the comments what you think of Moff Gideon, and you know, how high did you end up taking him? Are you taking him to 9? Do you have your squad ready? Are you gonna give him any Omicrons? Let me know what you guys think about this. And if you guys have any questions, of course, anything TW related, please feel free to ask, or anything about modding for characters I do. Yeah, go ahead and reach out to me. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave me a like. If I've earned it, subscribe. And other than that, guys, take care, and I'll see you next time.